Hi, my name is Tristan Carrico, and this is our Mobility4All expansion to the North American market presentation with group members Jake Chafin, Kelly Hanlon, and Madison Staton. In the U.S. market, in the United States, there are about 2.7 million people who use wheelchairs. The wheelchair market is expected to grow greatly in the next few decades. One of the largest generations, the baby boomers, are getting older and are requiring more assistance getting around, thus using more wheelchairs. Furthermore, due to the advancement of modern medicine, people are living longer and needing assistance in their old age from wheelchairs. Creating a wheelchair connector could create more efficient and effective transportation for those in wheelchairs. It could reduce the wait time for those in wheelchairs to be assisted. It would also reduce the amount of workers needed to assist those in wheelchairs. This could be useful for many organizations such as airlines, assisted living communities, hospitals, and even large sporting and music events. There are about 5,080 public airports, 28,900 assisting living communities, and 6,146 hospitals in the United States. Airlines is a huge example of an industry that provides a lot of assistance to those in wheelchairs. They are required to provide assistance from the terminal entrance to the aircraft seat. Hospitals and assisted living communities also have a large population of wheelchair users. This could be another place where that Mobility4All's device could have a huge impact on. It would allow wheelchair users to have more assistance while using less workers. Overall, the connector Mobility4All has created could be implicated into many industries in the United States. There is a large market for it and many industries that could benefit from it. Each hospital has an average of 5,500 wheelchairs. Each airport has an average of 700 wheelchairs. Lastly, the assisted living community has about 200 wheelchairs. Competitors. Across the world and here in the United States, there are many manufacturers and distributors involved in the mobility market. As far as wheelchairs are concerned, manufacturers in the powered wheelchair industry, such as 21st Century Scientific Inc. and Autobach Healthcare, dominate the world stage. Other companies like Invacare Corp also have stakes in other aspects of the mobility field, such as manufacturing innovative technologies and the creation of split spring beds, microprocessor controlled power wheelchairs, and home oxygen systems. Other American companies, such as Pride Mobility, work from their headquarters in Pennsylvania and other locations globally to allow people the best accessibility possible, fashioned by working in tandem with rehabilitation companies. Manufacturing mobility technologies and manufacturing home mobility technologies like lift chairs and scooters. Engineering requirements. In the US, there are a number of safety requirements when manufacturing wheelchairs and other devices. All of these requirements must be met from an engineering standpoint to allow mass manufacture and sale of the devices. The wheelchairs may be required to be manufactured a certain size universally and be able to support a minimum amount of weight. There are also wheelchairs used in many situations as they must be easily stored for places such as airplanes or stores so that customers have the option of using a wheelchair if so needed. They also need to be able to fit in tight spaces as to be easily transported and adjustable so that people of different sizes can change the height and be designed to maneuver through different types of terrain or public areas. ADA regulations. According to the ADA, when assessing the factors that decide whether a product like a wheelchair can be accommodated in a particular facility, there are certain things that need to be considered. These factors include U.S. Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division, the type, size, weight, dimensions, and speed of the device, the facility's volume of pedestrian traffic, which may vary at different times of the day, the facility's design and operational characteristics, whether legitimate safety requirements are met, whether the use of the OPDMD creates a substantial risk of serious harm to the immediate environment or natural or cultural resources, or poses a conflict with federal land management laws and regulation. These assessment factors and regulations specifically wherein safety requirements can be established for the product can impact the market size in the United States. Selling and distribution. It would be advantageous to advertise the products along with the compatible wheelchair so the consumer would have as little extra work to do as possible. Additionally, targeted advertisements on TV and social media that compare the product to its competitors and highlight why the product is superior could bring said product to a much wider audience than it would have received otherwise. Finally, another easy way to advertise products is to provide free samples to a number of applicants and use their reviews of the product to advertise how it is superior to its competitors. Distribution of the product would also be fairly straightforward. It should be made available in any place that sells other wheelchairs and wheelchair accessories, so it's as easy as possible for the consumer to see our product and choose it over the competitor. Marketing and advertising. The target for the marketing advertising Mobility4All device should not be targeted at people with disabilities or that have a need for wheelchairs. The device should instead be marketed and advertised toward the caregivers of those who require wheelchairs. This method should be taken because after research, a company's method of connecting to the consumer may come across as inappropriate through incorrect wording, through not paying enough attention to detail. This includes what words the company will use to refer to the people who require the wheelchairs, such as patient, customer, or consumer, and any number of people with disabilities may find any of these terms mildly offensive. The best way to advertise the product is to send representatives to facilities that require wheelchairs for people such as hospitals, nursing homes, rehabilitation centers, etc. The face-to-face marketing strategy will increase the company's reputation and make a name for the company. Therefore, instead of using normal advertising methods such as billboards, etc., the company should instead head directly to the facility that requires wheelchairs and talk to them in a non-demeaning manner. This can be getting to know the people requiring the wheelchairs or even the caregivers that will be providing them to the people with disabilities. Of course, with airports, it is not necessary to speak with the person requiring the wheelchair, but instead the management team of the airport itself to create sales. The product name should be oriented towards the people with disabilities, and the Mobility4All name makes the product look as if it is helping those with disabilities have increased mobility that have exactly what the name does. The product should retain its name wherever it's sold around the world. Continued revenue over time. Following the initial sale of the product, there are many ways that the companies can work to continue its revenue stream. Considering some of our clients will be bigger hospitals and airports, setting up monthly payment plans with these larger companies to offset the hefty bill will allow for a more consistent flow of income for Mobility4All. Additionally, Mobility4All could set up a maintenance service where technicians could be sent to fix issues with the product, which opens up a new window for possible revenue streams. Also, partnering with or consigning with a similar company in the United States could work with an outside business in a similar niche to swap referrals in exchange for other favors or ongoing referral fees. It would also be important to establish multiple lines of revenue for Mobility4All, meaning having multiple contacts with airports, hospitals, and nursing homes would provide important. Additionally, being in contact with companies that employ caregivers would be important because those caregivers can then offer the product to their own patients. Financing. The company should take the advertising and marketing method as described in question 8, where the company takes a face-to-face approach when selling the product. Consumers of the facilities who decide to purchase the product can take a staggered payment method when the device is bought in bulk for multiple wheelchairs. To start up the business in the US, the company needs to attract investors so that the facilities and products can be created and sold in the US. The company needs to reach out to potential investors and attempt to persuade them into investing by using an advisor from the people who started the company. If the company develops in Europe and areas around Germany initially, it will be easier for the US to incorporate in the US with an investor. Experience attracts investors, and these angel investors will be able to profit from the success of the Mobility4All product. Insurance. In the United States, power-operated vehicles like scooters and manual wheelchairs are covered under Medicare Part B as durable medical equipment that a doctor prescribes for use in the home, and they are only covered when deemed by a doctor or as a medical necessity. However, Medicare only covers DME if both the patient's doctor and their DME supplier are enrolled in Medicare. Additionally, some American health insurance companies will cover wheelchairs under their plans, though they can be very stale. For example, Blue Cross Blue Shield of North America has a policy on manual and power-operated wheelchairs, which states manually and power-operated wheelchairs will be considered eligible for coverage on an individual basis. They provide coverage for wheelchairs when they are determined to be medically necessary. With help of insurance, the cost of a wheelchair can be very high. The standard manual wheelchair can cost an average $500. A chair meant for everyday use raises the price from anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000, depending on its features. For a power wheelchair, costs can vary greatly, ranging from $1,200 as high as $30,000, with an average cost sitting around $7,000. People that do have insurance could still face issues paying for wheelchairs, considering that on average, private insurance and government programs typically cover between 50 to 80% of the costs. US pricing. The best material for Mobility4All to use would be to use aluminum material. This would ensure a good quality product and would match the style of the wheelchairs to make it visually appealing to all. Mobility4All has a baseline of €100 per unit for a metal 3D print. Converting that to United States dollars would be about $119. Now, on average, net profit margin is about 10%, and a good net profit margin is about 20%. Let's say Mobility4All wants a 15% profit margin and cost of production $119 United States dollars. That would make the selling price at $140. However, this would not include shipping, handling, or packaging. Estimate shipping costs from FedEx would be about $60 for a 10-pound box using their packaging. That number could either be included in the price as a fixed rate, or shipping could be based on miles, offering customers closer to the factory cheaper prices than those farther more expensive prices. Total price $200. Manufacturing location. It'd be advantageous for Mobility4All if the products were manufactured in the United States. It would avoid tariffs from imported products on the country. And the materials needed for this project, most modern wheelchairs are manufactured out of aluminum, steel, and titanium. So our product would follow these specifications to ensure its durability and that it would be as durable as the wheelchair it is attached to. The advantages of using a squishier foam for transportation is that customers would be able to grab on hard to a grip, and the foam would form around their hand and make their grip stronger. Additionally, it would be more comfortable. Foam in general would be a great choice for grips because of its durability, cost, and long lifespan. And that is the end of our presentation. Here is a list of references that we use for information gathered in the presentation. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.